We are going to be looking at how to solve quadratic equations by factoring. Now, let me start off. This is an equation. If I do that, then this is an expression. This is an equation, but this is an expression. What's the difference? An equation has an equal sign, saying that one side, the left side, is equal to the right hand side. An expression is just this, a collection of terms. Great. So to solve quadratic equations, we work them out as if we were factorizing a quadratic, and then at the end we just solve them. Real easy. All right, so remember those keys? You need to be versed in using and finding those keys. So let's go. All right, so A would have been 1, B would have been positive 5, and C would have been a positive 6. So AC would have been 1 times 6, which is 6. And I'm looking for factors of 6 that would sum to 5. So that would be 3x, a positive 3x, and a positive 2x. If you notice, 3 times 2 will give us the A times C, which is 6. And when I add them, I'm going to get that 5. So all I'm going to do now is to bring these down. You remember from the video factorizing? Good. And then all I need to do is to just factorize by the HCF. So I know that x is common here. So I'm going to divide these by x. So I'm going to get x here plus 3. And I know that 2 is common here, so I'm going to factor out that 2. So I'm going to divide both of these terms by 2. Alright, so these cancel, leaving me with just x. And 2 into 6 goes 3. And when you look at that, I can factor it down again by the brackets, because the brackets are common. So I'm going to have x plus 3. I'm dividing both of these by the same bracket, x plus 3, x plus 3. This will cancel, leaving us with just x. And these will cancel because they're the same at the top and the same at the bottom, leaving us with just plus 2. But there's something that we are leaving off. Notice it has an equal 0 up there. So I need to come back and put that equal 0 down here. So far, so good. And this is where it gets very nice. What we can do is to set each bracket equal to 0. What I mean is this. X plus 3 is equal to 0. And x plus 2 is also equal to 0. Now that I set them equal to 0, which it was already, I can go ahead and do this thing. Solve. So let's solve it now. If I should keep x on this side, I need to carry this positive 3 across. When I carry the positive 3 across, I'm going to get a negative 3. Once you jump the side, you change the sign. So I'm moving from the left to the right by moving over that 3, and it's going to become not positive but negative. So x is going to be equal to 0 minus 3, which is just negative 3. And we need to work out the next part. Moving this positive 2 across because I want x by itself. When you jump the side from left to right, you change the sign. So it's going to move from being the left to being on the right, and it's changing from a positive 2 to a negative 2. So x is going to be equal to negative 2. So when we solve the quadratic equation, or we find the roots or find the solution, this is what we mean. What are the values of x that make the quadratic equation work down to 0? So x is going to be either negative 3 or negative 2. Notice that we have two values for x. And the reason why we have two values for x is because it's a quadratic. And what that really is saying to us is the highest power is 2, which is this 2 here. And that is why we have two answers, two x values. See? The 2 are the squares on the x. So when you work it out, you must get two values for x. Simple, don't it? Once you can find the keys and you can factorize by grouping and you can solve simple equations, you're good to go. Good. Let's look at another example. Find the roots to the quadratic equation. And all that means is to just find the values of x that makes the expression equal to 0. Or just solve it. So look at it. We have 2x squared minus 13x is equal to 7. The first thing I would do is to carry this 7 over so that it looks like what we want it to look like. So when I carry this 7 over, it was a positive. So when it jumps the equal sign, it's going to become its opposite. Good. So I'm going to have 2x squared minus 13x minus 7 is equal to 0. And we can work with this. It's a little better. So I need the factors of AC that adds up to negative 13. And A was 2, C was negative 7. So AC is the product of those, which is negative 14. So what are the factors of negative 14 that can add up to negative 13? Well, I would know that it's going to be a positive 1x and a negative 14x. Great. Because when I multiply these, I'm going to get negative 14. But when I add these, I'm going to get that negative 13x. Great. So I just use the key to break out this b term. So I'm going to pull back down these now, just like the regular factorization that we're used to. And I'm setting that equal to 0. Great. So I could just go ahead and factorize now. The common term or variable between these is x. So I'm going to divide each term by x. This will give me 2x. This cancels down to 1. And then I'm going to factor out here now a negative 7. Because both of them are negative. So I can just quickly do that. Good. So I'm going to divide both of these guys by negative 7. Good. And this negative 7 into negative 14x goes 2 times, or 2x. And negative 7 divided by negative 7 gives us a positive 1. Good. And we're setting that equal to 0. Great. Whew. We still can factorize by grouping because the brackets are the same. So I'm going to write back the bracket, 2x plus 1. And I'm going to divide this part by the same bracket, 2x plus 1. And this part by the same bracket, 2x plus 1. These cancel, leaving us with just x here, there. And these cancel, leaving us with just minus 7 there. Good. And all of that is equal to 0. So remember what to do at this point now? Set both brackets equal to 0. So we're going to have 2x plus 1 is equal to 0. And x minus 7 is equal to 0. We'll just go ahead and solve this right now. So we're going to say, I'm going to carry this over. Or what you can do is to subtract 1 from both sides, if you're used to doing it this way. So this will cancel, leaving us with just 2x here is equal to 0. Take away 1 is just minus 1. But the problem with this is that x is not by itself, so we need to get rid of this 2. And we're going to have to divide both sides by 2 now. So these would cancel. So the value of x on this part is negative 1/2. Good. And then now we need to give our attention to this. So I'm going to, the opposite of subtracting 7 is adding 7. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side to keep it balanced. That's what the equal sign there means. So these cancel, leaving us with just x. And x is equal to 0 plus 7, which is just 7. Great. So the solution, or the roots, x is equal to -1/2 and x is equal to 7. And that's it. So these are the roots to the quadratic equation that was written above. The 2x squared minus 13x minus 7, or 2x squared minus 13x equal to 7.